Here's the next activity that you need to work on, which is dealing with linear equations with brackets. And you saw in some of the previous examples how this might happen, or you'll see a lot of questions where the brackets are in the question. So here's a couple of examples. Now, there are two ways of dealing with these, thinking about our order of operations and the way that we can do that. But I'll show you that one of the ways will actually work all the time anyway. But I'll show you the two possibilities. Now, if we're looking at this first example here, this is a very typical example where our reverse order of operations, so doing the multiplication before we think about the brackets, would work. So in this case, I've got everything in the brackets is being multiplied by 2, so the opposite operation would be to divide both sides by 2. These will cancel, then what I'm left with is x plus 3 equals 5, and then I will take 3 from both sides, and what I'm left with is x equals 2. Now, that is following the process that we've talked. Okay, so it's really Robert Benson here this time. This is just a video, one of a few that I've made to go up on YouTube, which some of which I've used in a flipped classroom situation, and others I'm just using as resources for students to, in this case, check exam marks and that sort of thing. So I just wanted to show you the way that I've made these videos. Now, there are lots of different ways you can do this. This is probably not the easiest, but it does have quite a lot of flexibility if you do it this way. So I'll show you the steps that I go through to do it. So where I start with these videos is I start with a PowerPoint file, and it's pretty much the same as something that you would make up to put on the board in the classroom. In this case, they just have the exam questions pasted in there. Now, you can see that I've scribbled all over this one, and I'll show you what I'm doing with that later on. Anyway, so I have put various different things in here, or different questions on each page, and I've laid it out so that I have some space after each question. Now, once I've done that, this is, if you like, this is the document that I'm then going to draw on and write on and then speak over at the same time to present to the students. So what I do then is I go into another application. Now, this is something you might have on your computer. You might have something different. I've actually bought this one, but it was like $20 or something. And I found it very useful. It's called Debut Video Capture Software, but there are lots of other things that will record your screen. And I've just set it so that it's recording this particular monitor. I'm just going to move that out of the way at the moment. So then what I do is I go into the slideshow. So I'm just going to go from current slide. So you can see now you're seeing the slideshow as you would see it on the board in a classroom. Now, this means that I can do all the usual PowerPoint stuff. So I can flip between slides. You can use the PowerPoint features like animations and things like that if you want to, get really fancy. Basically, any PowerPoint that you already have, you could potentially use in a flipped classroom video. So the next thing that's important is I need a way of writing on this. Now, PowerPoint has a built-in tool for annotations. It's a little bit clumsy in terms of actually working nicely, but I find it works pretty well. So you've got the pen tool and you've got highlighters and things like that. Now, I've actually got a graphics tablet, which makes it easier for me just to write stuff on the screen. Yep, it's being difficult for me now because it's decided not to write. Let's try that again. Right, much nicer. 2 plus 2 equals 4. So I've got a graphics tablet that I bought from Aldi for $50 or something like that. It's been incredibly useful for this because it just means that I can write reasonably nicely on the screen. As you can see, I probably get a little messy at times, but it's still quite clear enough for the purposes that I need it for. Okay, so basically I continue doing this and I work through the pages, and I will speak as I'm explaining it and writing out the equations and all that kind of stuff, which I'm sure you've seen before. Then once I'm finished, all I do is I go back to my video capture software, which I'm just going to drag into this screen here, and then I press stop. Now I'm not actually going to stop at the moment because I'm recording this video. And then what it does is it saves the file, and we can go into Movie Maker to edit that file. Again, Movie Maker is some software that we've all got, so you may well have used it already, and well, we've got it, so we don't need to get anything else. The good thing about Movie Maker as well is that, again, it's a pretty powerful application, so you can do quite a lot in terms of editing your files. So look, I'll show you one that I've prepared earlier. So I have my previous lot of files. Now I'm going to bring in two of these because I know that previously I needed to edit something out. So these are two files that make up one particular video. Now I'm not going to go through this in detail, but you can edit out certain sections. So I know that at about this point here I actually had a slight technical hitch, and so I needed to edit out that part of the video later. So in this case I can go split, and then this section of the video here I can just remove. You can do various other things as well. So for example here, this is just at the start of the video, just before I started talking. That space I can get rid of, so I'll go set start point there. So I can fiddle around and kind of clear things up. Let's say that this end bit here is unnecessary. I can set my end point there. So you can trim things down a little bit. By default, YouTube takes videos that are under 15 minutes. Now, depending on your account settings, you can get it longer than that, and that's not actually a very difficult thing to do. That being said, I think really long videos are not a great idea anyway. I personally feel that if they're getting over 15 minutes, I probably want to split them in two anyway. Just so the students can watch things in little chunks rather than one massive session. But anyway, I digress. So once I've done this, I now have to save my video in a suitable format. Now, you've got a couple of options, a couple of things you can do here as well. You can save the project. That's not really necessary, but it means that if you decide later that you want to go back and edit it some more and produce a slightly different version, it's a little bit easier. So that involves going save the project, and you can save it in a sensible directory. So I generally do them by subject and have the subject ones together. But the more important thing is that you actually need to save your movie. And there are lots of different formats here. Now, in the past, I've tended to use a pretty low resolution format because I don't know actually why I did that, but it worked reasonably well. The students could see what was going on. I'm not sure if this has changed, but the YouTube format seems to be reasonably high resolution now, which means that your stuff will look really good. It just will require more bandwidth for students to download it. That's not a big deal, really, unless people are, downloading stuff over their phones or something weird like that. So all you do is you save the movie at the appropriate format. So I would go YouTube, and it'll ask you where you want to save it. Again, save it in a sensible directory, go save, and it takes a while to process the file, but eventually you end up with a video. And the last step in all this is that you need to upload it somewhere. So I'm going to upload this to YouTube. So I've got YouTube open in another tab. So in order to do this, you need to have a Google account. This is what my channel looks like. Yours possibly doesn't have all the weird videos that you're child looks at. You never know. And you've just got the upload button there. The other place that's worth looking at is my channel. That's where you can see all your videos. Anyway, here is the upload button. Press the upload button and you get the window. Now you can either drag the files into this window, or you can just click on it and it brings up the just the file manager, so you can go and look for them. So in recent places, unit 3, and I've got my videos in here. So all you need to do is select the video and it will start to upload it. Now when you upload it, you also need to publish it, and that makes it visible on YouTube. And once you've published it, you'll get a link that you can either send around to people, or you can use to embed in things like MyEd. Anyway, I hope that helps. It's just one of the many ways that you can create videos. If you'd like me to show you this a little bit more in person, I'm very happy to do that. I'm also going to try and look at some other options that might be a little bit easier to use, and I'll send out some information about those later on. Hope that was interesting. Thank you.